Hey fur friends, welcome to our channel, your cat and dog destination. Do you either have a dog that's at home sick right now with an upset stomach, or you want to know what to do the next time your dog does have an upset stomach? Well, then keep watching, because in today's video I'm going to tell you everything you can do at home for your dog when they have an upset stomach. So let's get into the video. I want to start off by saying that if there's any chance that your dog has potentially eaten something poisonous, I 100% recommend that you immediately take your dog to the vet, because time is of the essence in those situations, and the faster you get to the vet, the more likely they are to ensure that there's not irreparable damage to your dog based on the poisonous item that they have ingested. So if there is any chance, immediately take your dog to the vet. So some of the common reasons that dogs can get an upset stomach can consist of if they've recently eaten grass outside or something outside that didn't sit well with their stomach, if they've gotten into the garbage and you know for sure there wasn't anything poisonous in the garbage, but they did get into something and it upset their stomach. Another one is if you've recently changed their food. That can be even switching, the proteins if you're staying within the same brand of food, if you're changing to a new brand of food, even if you feed kibble and you switch to raw, or raw to kibble, or some variation of change in their diet can cause an upset stomach. And the last one, I recently just experienced this with my dog, is if you have given your dog table scraps and it's something that they haven't had in their diet before and it causes an upset stomach. Okay, so now I want to go through some of the common signs that your dog does have an upset stomach, and there's a variety of signs and symptoms that your dog can be experiencing. Sometimes they will experience more than one, sometimes it could just be one or two. Okay, so they are vomiting, diarrhea, loss of appetite, salivating, passing gas, their stomach is gurgling a lot, and the last one is if they're just acting off, so they're not acting like themselves. And you know your dog best, so you will be able to tell if they're not acting like themselves. That could be, they're laying in weird spots, they're more lethargic than they usually are, they're not wagging their tail, they're not excited to, get up and go outside or go for a walk or something. You just can tell that they are not feeling well and they're under the weather. Okay, so if your dog is experiencing diarrhea and doesn't have any other symptoms of an upset stomach, there's a couple things that I recommend adding into their current diet before making any changes to their diet if they're having a full upset stomach with multiple symptoms. So the first one would be adding in pure 100% pumpkin. This is what it looks like. Pumpkin is a great source of fiber for dogs. The dosage for this is 1 teaspoon for every 10 pounds of body weight. So you can just measure it out and just mix it into their food. Most dogs absolutely love pumpkin. Another great thing about pumpkin is it helps with both ends actually of when dogs are experiencing issues with going to the washroom. So if they are going too much with diarrhea, it's a great option. It helps to firm things up, and it also helps if your dog is constipated and is having trouble going to the washroom. So this is a great option. This would be my number one thing I recommend for upset stomachs to add to your dog's food. Another one would be sweet potato. It's another great source of fiber, and it comes in the same format as the pumpkin, and the dosage would be the same. Another thing would be adding in mashed banana is a great option. You can also do cooked oatmeal is great as well to add into their food. Just get the plain oatmeal, and then you could also add in plain yogurt too. That's a great option as well. Another thing that you can add into your dog's diet if they're experiencing diarrhea or any other signs of an upset stomach is slippery elm bark powder. So what slippery elm bark powder is a herb that is used to treat digestive problems in dogs and humans as well. So how it works is it contains mucilage, which helps to coat, lubricate, and soothe the inflamed mucous membranes of your dog's stomach. Now, I have not personally tried this, but I read a lot of amazing things about it online, so I'm definitely looking forward to trying it, and I do like to try natural options when I can for my dogs. A little bit about what I read online was that you should give it to your dog 1 to 2 hours before they eat a meal, or give it to them before bed so it has a chance to, really coat the stomach and they're not digesting food as well while this is working in the stomach. And the dosage for this was half a teaspoon for every 10 pounds of body weight. So depending on how large your dog is, that would be the dosage. It did say on there you could do a 1/4 teaspoon to a half a teaspoon for every 10 pounds. So I guess it's really up to you at your discretion on how much you want to use. Another thing I did note was they said that this is not something that should be used in their diet daily. It should be only used when there is an issue that you're trying to resolve. So not daily, only when there's a problem. And I just picked this up at my local health food store. It was about $35. I did see it online at pet stores and it was a lot more expensive. And this is how much? 200 grams. And this was $35. Whereas at pet stores, I saw it for like 80 grams or 100 grams and it was the same price. Now those ones do come with the scoop, but that already gives you the measurement of how much you should be putting in, but this is the exact same and much more cost effective and is going to go a lot longer. And if you guys have tried Slippery Elm with your dog before, I would love to hear in the comments your dog's experience with it and how, did it help your dog's stomach? So any feedback on that would be greatly appreciated. I am looking to use this with my dog and I'm also going to film a full review on how it worked for my dog. All right, so now we're moving on to what you should do when your dog is experiencing multiple signs of an upset stomach, like the signs and symptoms that I noted previously in the video. So the first thing you want to do is you want to take food away. So put your dog on a fast for 12 to 24 hours. I recommend doing 24 hours because then that gives your dog enough time for their stomach to really settle before you reintroduce food. So you want to start with doing that. And during that time, you do want to make sure that your dog is staying hydrated. So even though they're not eating any food within that time, you want to make sure that they're getting lots of fluids in them, because when your dog gets dehydrated, things can go downhill very quickly and it can be hard. It makes it harder for your dog to recover. So a couple things you can do to keep your dog very hydrated is, first off, is encouraging them to drink water. A few other things is you can add in bone broth. So I just picked this up at my local pet store. Bone broth is a great option to give your dogs. So this bone broth just has turkey bone broth, carrots, and pumpkin. And the dosage for this is feed 2 tablespoons of broth for every 10 pounds body weight as desired, shake well, and you can store for up to 7 days. So this is, 100% human grade, all natural, it's a clean product. And it's already portioned out for you, so you can just pour it out. So it makes it very easy. You can also get any bone broth from like a local health store as well. You just want to make sure that you are not doing too much, because if you give your dog too much liquid at one time, if they've got an upset stomach, it can sometimes make them throw up. So you want to give them little bits at a time. And if you don't want to do, just the pure bone broth, you can also add in water as well. So another thing that you can do to slow down the speed that they're consuming the fluids is you can actually take this and put it in like an ice cube tray and put it in the freezer. Sometimes if you've got it in the liquid form, you won't have enough time for it to freeze before you need to ensure that your dog is getting the fluids in them. So you can actually buy it in cubes as well. So I also got this at my pet store, and this is just pork bone broth and it's in cubes already. And this just has pork joint bones, organic apple cider vinegar, turmeric, ginger, and then black peppercorns. This is what it looks like. So they're just in little freezer burnt because they're getting older. So this is just the bone broth in a cube frozen form, so it makes it really easy. You can just put it in your dog's bowl and your dog will lick it, and it slows down the rate that they're ingesting the fluid, but it does encourage them to stay hydrated. My dogs absolutely love these, so that is a great option as well. And I will insert a couple clips on ways to make sure that your dog is staying hydrated. So there's 2 ways that you can check on your dog. So the first way is if you pull at the back of their neck, you lift their hair up and you kind of turn it, and you want to see how quickly the skin will go back down. So if it goes back down right away, then that means that your dog is hydrated. If you turn it and hold it there and then let go and it stays up and slowly goes down, then that is a clear sign that your dog is dehydrated, and you want to make sure that they are getting lots of fluid in them. Another way to check is if you actually put your hand inside their mouth and just tap on their gum, and if their gum is moist, that means that they're hydrated. If you tap on the gum and it's kind of sticky or tacky like, then that means that they're dehydrated. So I would try doing that at home when your dog is hydrated, so you can for sure tell the difference when they are not hydrated, just so you can monitor that closely. So after the 24-hour fast, you then want to transition to your dog to a bland diet. And what a bland diet consists of is, the first thing is protein. So generally I recommend to pick a protein that is similar to or the same as what your dog's regular food is. So for example, my dog's is turkey, so I will get a ground turkey to use for the bland diet. Other options are ground chicken, ground beef. You could also do boneless, skinless chicken breast. So what you do is you pick the protein source that you want to use, and you want to make sure that it's extra lean. And so I have here is extra lean ground turkey. So I always keep this on hand because I want to be prepared if my dog does get an upset stomach, and I can pull this out of the freezer and cook this for them. So how you do it is you cook it in the fry pan. You don't cook it with any oil, don't use any spices, just plain, very, very bland. And then you want to mix that in with rice. Now, just to do the dosage for the protein, generally the rule of thumb is dogs that are full grown eat 2 to 2.5% of their body weight in protein. So you can use that equation, just do 2.5% times their body weight to get the calculation of pounds of protein that you want to feed through the bland diet. I would use some caution when doing that though, because you do not want to overfeed your dog through this bland diet, just because you want to slowly transition them back to getting on their regular diet. So once you cook all the protein, then you also want to add a carb source. So I use cooked rice. That is what I choose. Now, some people choose to use rice, some people don't. I personally have had a very positive experience using rice with my dogs. It helps to make them feel full, and it's just done a really good job at helping to repair their stomach when they're dealing with an upset stomach. So generally, the rule of thumb is you want to do about 70 to 75% of rice, 25% of the protein, and I will also add in pumpkin as well, just to help their stomach even more. So how you usually want to portion this out is you want to do a small portion at one time, and then you want to see if your dog wants to eat it. If they eat it, wait a couple hours, see how they react to it. Do they get sick? How is their stool? How are they feeling? Are they, feeling like they want to eat again? If they do seem like they want to eat again, give them another small portion, and then do that for another 2 days and see how they react. I personally do not actually weigh everything out. I kind of just eyeball it, and I will see how much my dog eats based on what I've given them, and then that will be an indicator. Okay, maybe I need to give more next time, or if they don't eat at all, maybe I gave them too much. And you do not want to give too much, because too much can then just cause them to get sick. So do small portions. That's going to be your best bet. So a couple things to monitor would be making sure that they're staying hydrated. And another way that you can make sure that they're staying hydrated is to add in bone broth as a liquid into their food. So that is a great way. Just make sure you don't put too much, because like I said, you don't want them to get an upset stomach from consuming too much food at one time. You want to monitor their gas, their farting, if their stomach is grumbling, if they are going to the washroom, how is their stool, and just overall, how are they acting? Are they starting to feel better, acting like themselves? So just monitor all those things, and that will really determine if you may need to stay on the bland diet for an extra day or two. If it's not improving, then maybe you need to go to the vet, or maybe you're ready to transition into getting your dog back on their regular food. So if after the 2 to 3 days you're like, okay, you know what, they're starting to feel a lot better, I'm going to reintroduce their food. How I usually do it is, like I said, I don't hardcore measure everything. I just go by how my dog is reacting and the regular amount of food that I'm used to feeding them, and they feel satiated after eating. So I will typically just on the 3rd day, maybe at their last meal, I will start to add in some of their kibble and just see how they react. Are they eating around the kibble? Are they only eating the rice and the cooked meat? Or are they eating the kibble with the food, and the next morning, are they having normal bowel movements? Is everything seeming to be going well? If that is the case, then the next meal I'll add more in, and I'll make it, maybe I'll double the amount that I added in the first night, and then just add a bit more, and then add a bit more. And then by day 2 days later, you should be able to almost transition fully back to their diet. Now, if you put them back on their food and they're just on their food and they immediately get an upset stomach again, then it could be a couple things. It could be their food, it's not sitting well with their stomach, and you may need to look at changing it. So in that case, you can, go to the pet store. You can do lots of research online. If you do have any questions about that, feel free to leave comments down below, and I'm happy to help you guys navigate through what is the best dog food for your dog. So those are a couple different things. It could be something else, so you may need to consult your vet. So just constantly be monitoring your dog and seeing how they are reacting. But if after the, the 3-4 days they are feeling better and they're on their kibble again or their raw food, whatever you choose to feed your dog, then you should be good to just keep them on that. I would recommend for a couple days after that, continuing with adding in the pumpkin. It's definitely not gonna hurt. A few other things that you can add to your dog's food when they're back on their normal diet to just kind of ensure that your dog doesn't get an upset stomach again, or if you have a dog that gets chronic upset stomachs, a few things is adding a probiotic. It is a great option, helps your dog's stomach. Just the same as humans, has all the great benefits for your dogs as well. And another thing is adding Fortiflora. Now, Fortiflora is really great for boosting pet's immune system, so that is a great option as well. You can just sprinkle it on top. We're actually going to do a full video talking about all the benefits of Fortiflora. We have had great experience using it with our cats, and you can use it for cats and dogs. I hope today's video was helpful and informative for you guys, and you now know what to do the next time your dog gets an upset stomach at home. So please leave any questions or comments you have below. I'm happy to answer them and help you through any issues you're having with your dog's upset stomach. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.